Right, I've just recorded half of this paper and it just lost it, so hopefully I won't go too fast when I do it again through frustration. Alright, so when we're sharing an amount in ratios, we need to know how many parts there are in total, so that makes 12 parts. 5,400 divided by 12 gives 450, as I recall. Oh, I guess I should show you these plugins. Is 450. That means that is 1 part. So if this person gets 5 parts, that's going to be 5 lots of 450. This is going to be 3 lots of 450 and 4 lots of 450. That's what we can do now. 2250. You can work those out. Let me look at the answers to save it again. So it's 1350 and 1800. Okay. Pressure is force over area. Okay. Seems pretty straightforward. That's just newtons is force and area is this. But look here, they want the answer in newtons per meter squared. So first things first, I would suggest changing this to meters squared. When we're changing square units, we're going from a smaller square unit to a larger square unit, which means that we're going to be dividing. But we're going from centimeters squared to meters squared, so we're not going to divide by 100, we're actually going to be divided by 100 squared. So our area we're looking at is actually 120 divided by 100 squared. So our pressure is force divided by that, so the pressure is going to be 810 newtons, that's fine, that's in the correct unit, divided by 120 over 100 squared. So let's put that in the calc as is. So 810 over 120 over 100 squared is 67500. Highest common factor, so the easiest way to do this is factor trees. And 245 would be 5, and 7. 7. So to find the highest common factor, we see what's common to both. So it's just 5 times 7 and multiply those. So that's going to be 35 is your highest common factor. Right. Not everyone recognizes these, but when we're doing stuff like this, we're actually finding the lowest common multiple. So we're saying, when does the 50-minute and the 80-minute coincide? So if we do a similar thing, find our factor tree, 80. So right, so there are prime factors. Oh my gosh, products of prime factors, that's what I was trying to say. So we need to know the lowest common multiple. So we look for common things. That's just a 2 and a 5 that's common. Ignore one set of them, and then we've got this multiplied by 5. So that's 80 multiplied by 5 is 400. So that means in 400 minutes. Okay. So we're going to see how many hours that is. So 60 goes into that 6 times, that's 6 hours. 6 sixes are 36, so that's 4 hours and 40 minutes. It's asked what time it is, so from 10 a.m. for another, adding on 6 hours and 40 minutes to 10 a.m. gives us 4:40 p.m. or 16:40 if you prefer. Factorize fully, we need to make sure everything that's common comes out. So 3 and y is common, gives us 2y plus 5. Expand and simplify, so I'll do the full FOIL, m squared, 3/5m. And join like terms. Make t the subject, so to get rid of a half, the easiest thing to do is to multiply both sides by 2. And then divide by a. And then the opposite squaring is square root. Ideally you'd have the plus and minus, but they accepted it without leave. All of this side is divided by 2, so to get rid of that we're going to multiply both sides by 2. So this becomes just 6 times 5. And don't forget brackets here to make sure you're multiplying everything by 2. Joining like terms, I'm going to take away 2x from both sides. And add 5 to both sides. And then our final step is to divide by 4. So you can leave it as an improper fraction if you wish. It hasn't said what kind of number they want. Right, so far this is 5/8. This is 80%. So that's 4/5, and that's 1/5. So if we want to know rectangle B, it's a fraction, I would probably say that that was 5/8 subtract 1/5. So to make our denominator the same, we multiply by 5. Sorry. So that's 25/40 subtract 8/40, which is 17/40. Now I know lots of you did it different ways and we're using percentages. I don't really know what you did. So maybe ask me if you're not sure how you did it or what you did or what you did wrong. I know lots of you ended up with 42.5/100 as your fraction, and I did try to write on everyone's, hopefully I remembered, that that's an unacceptable format for a fraction. A fraction cannot have decimals in them. So several different ways of getting rid of the decimal. So you can multiply both top and bottom by 10. So you get 425/1000. You can double it, so that's 85/200. So it's multiplied top and bottom by 2. It doesn't say what simplified fraction, so it doesn't have to be in its simplified form, but ideally it would be. I mean, the answer has it in its simplest form, so but it doesn't specify. So I would suggest, well, anyway, your calculator simplifies stuff. So once you've got an answer, just make sure you press, make sure you reduce it. All right, so here is a salary increase of 3%. So if it's increasing by 3%, we would multiply by 1.03. One 185,400. 185,400. Okay, in a sale, so everything has been reduced by 15%. The sale price, okay, so this amount has already been reduced. Remember, this reduction, the 15%, is based on that original amount, not the new sale price. So you can't just add 15% to this value and find out what it was originally. You have to say to yourself, right, if it's been reduced by 15%, it means that you've paid 85% of the original value. So you've paid 85% of some original quantity, and that meant you were paying 6630. So to find that original quantity, you're going to divide. So remember, for reverse percentages, so if something's already happened, you will always be dividing somehow. So it's 6650 divided by 0.85. Oops. Gives 782353. No, what have I put the wrong numbers in? 6630. Oh, Lord above. 6630 divided by 0.85. 7800. I didn't think that was right. That's how much it was to start with. Ian plays 7 games of cricket. His mean score is 42 runs. Okay, so we need to think about this. So when we're finding the mean, so the mean is the total runs divided by the number of games. So in this case, 42 would be our total divided by 7. So the only thing we can work out here is the total number of runs. So that would be 42 multiplied by 7. Which is 294. So Ian's run 294 runs so far. runs. Now, if he wants to, he's only going to play one more game of cricket. And if he wants his mean to be 50, we need to know what his new total needs to be. So for a mean of 50 and playing 8 games, his new total needs to be 400. That means that in our 8th match, he needs to run 400, subtract 294, which is 106 runs. All right, standard form. Write as an ordinary number. So remember, this tells us we're moving our decimal point 7 places to the right, which would mean 9, 3, and 6 zeros. Because we started here and we've gone 7 places and ended up here. The least population means that we're looking at the smallest number, so we can discount anything with a higher power. So we're comparing essentially this one, and this is obviously the smaller of the two. So that's Singapore. The population. So we're working at the difference. Difference means subtraction. And remember, you can just enter standard form numbers in your calculator. So 1.382. This button here, the EE, saves you from having to multiply times 10 to the power. So that's E9, subtract 1.327 E9. So that's 5.5 times 10 to the 7. Okay, so your calculator did all that for you. Okay, so this is an isosceles triangle. Area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2, but it's base times perpendicular height. So we do need to know this measure here. Now, luckily enough, because it's an isosceles triangle, we can actually use Pythagoras to find that height. We know that this is 10, and so our height squared would be 14.5 squared, subtract 10 squared. So it's just using our Pythagoras formula. So chuck that in the calc. And that's 10.5. So our height is 10.5, which means that our area would be base times height divided by 2. So 20 multiplied by 10.5 divided by 2. Is 105. You could have used trigonometry. You could use the cosine rule to find any of these angles, and then use the area rule to calculate the area. I would say that was a lot more work and unnecessary, but completely up to you as to how you do it. Try and look for easy options wherever you can, though. As I said, because it's isosceles, we can cut it into two right-angled triangles to find that perpendicular height. Right, solve simultaneous equations. Right, so we need to make our coefficient of x or y the same, but different signs. So I'm going to multiply this one by 5, this one by 3. I'm going to change all the signs of the bottom one and add them together. Means this disappears, so that's 26, and that's 91. Oh, wrong numbers. So that's 7 and 32, which is 3.5. And then we can find y, substituting into either one of these. So 7 lots of 3.5 plus y equals 20. Still on here, don't want to make mistakes. 7 multiplied by 3.5. Oops. So it's 24.5. So 3y, taking 24.5 from both sides. So there's our x value and our y value. Just to make sure, we've shown our working, so we've got the marks there, but it doesn't hurt to go into your calculator and double check. So menu, algebra, solve a system of linear equations. There are 2 equations and we're using x and y. And then you literally just type your question into the calculator. So I need to go to split. So 7x plus 3y equals 20 is one of them, and 3x plus 5y equals 3 is the other. Press solve, and there's our 2 values. So our first one is our x value and the second one is our y, because that's what it says here. In case it doesn't hurt, as I say, to check when you're doing them.